Forget. Thank you so much for spending your evening with us. This is the Flatiron School info session, the first one of 2022, which is crazy. I did all of these events last year, and we sort of like revamped the slide deck with more information about our disciplines, about our like more project examples, more financing info. Just like there is a ton of info in this deck. We have an hour, and I would rather spend time answering your questions, like your specific questions, than like, info dumping. So what we're going to do is get through this presentation as quickly as possible. If you have any questions as we go through about the content that's in the slides or about Flatiron School in general, pop it in the chat box, pop it in the Q&A. I'm going to get through as many as possible here in just a little bit. And then also, this is being recorded, so you'll get a copy of this recording and the slide deck and this like the syllabi and the jobs report, like a whole bunch of info in an email after we wrap today, or like first thing tomorrow morning. And without further ado, let's jump right in. Hi, my name is Ray. I am the discipline lead on admissions for our software engineering program. I've been with Flatiron School for 2.5, almost 3 years at this point, which is crazy. I'm based out of Denver, Colorado. And if you're curious, I'm an avid foodie for sure, road tripper, and also a furniture collector. Here's the agenda today. We're doing the welcome right now. We're going to talk a little bit about the history of Flatiron School, give like a thorough program overview of the 4 disciplines that we offer, touch on admissions process, touch on career services, our jobs report, open Q&A, and then wrap it up with next steps. So let's do it. We'll start with the mission statement, which is to enable the pursuit of a better life through education. Our goal is to set you up for a successful future in your new career path. We very much consider this to be a career-changing course, and we want to make your transition into the tech industry a smooth one. So we'll dive into what that looks like throughout the rest of the presentation. Here we have the history of Flatiron School. So we were founded in 2012, 10 years ago to the month, in New York City by Adam and Avi, our 2 founders. They combined Adam's passion for education with Avi's past experience in code to create and deliver the Flatiron School curriculum. Fast forward 10 years later, we've expanded to offer 4 disciplines: software engineering, data science, product design, and cyber engineering at a variety of different paces, and have both virtual and in-person cohorts, as well as campus locations all across the US. And then lastly, our graduates are able to launch careers in the tech industry with impressive starting salaries, as you've all seen, I'm sure, and in most cases, make a full career transition in less than a year. This is just a little example of like some of the employers that our graduates have been hired on with. You'll see everything from banks to insurance companies, some pretty like prestigious tech company names as well. More than anything, I think it just shows how much we depend on technology for day-to-day business, and that most companies operating a website or an app rely on a software engineer to make that happen. We are going to talk in depth about the 4 disciplines that we offer in the next couple of slides, but I wanted to start by just explaining our 2 learning paces, which are live and flex. Basically, everyone's schedule is so different. Some students choose to quit their jobs and take a fully immersive program, while others are like working full or part-time, or they have other life things going on and they want to take a course in their off hours. We recognize this, and so we offer the same curriculum at a variety of different paces so that students can choose the best fit for them, like what's most realistic. Our live program is the quickest, and it's the most intense pace option. Typically, the live program's 15 weeks for all of our disciplines. Students are working 60 hours a week at minimum, and everything is live. Live lectures, you're working on group activities, you're building projects, you're paired programming, just depending on your discipline. One thing that's so important to understand is that it is impossible to work a job at all and take a live program. Like there's simply just not enough hours or brain power in the day. So that's why we created the Flex course. And with Flex, it's the exact same curriculum, the same portfolios, the same career services, but you're able to set your own schedule. You'll have an instructor, you'll have classmates, you'll have technical coaches supporting you throughout the program, and you'll have a mix of recorded lectures and then optional live lectures, optional study sessions, open office hours, and events throughout as well. Flex students and live students also have campus access if you live near an open campus, which is super nice. So even if you're not taking the fully immersive on-campus program, you can still come and go as you please and build community that way. The PACE options for Flex are 20, 40, and 60 weeks, which is 5 months, 10 months, and 15 months respectively. But what's nice is you're able to change your PACE without penalty if you need to at any point in the curriculum, which you cannot do with live. And then I think I said this already, but career services support for both programs is the same. And if you don't know exactly what PACE is going to be the right fit for you, this is something that you can talk about during your admissions interview with myself or someone on my team. So don't feel like you have to make a final decision today. I see some questions coming in the chat already, just so you know, I'll get to them at the end. But keep asking. Okay, so let's jump into the program details, starting with our bread and butter, our software engineering program. Software engineering is the design, development, maintenance, testing, and evaluation of websites and computer software. We designed the software engineering course to give you the necessary expertise in both back and front end programming so that you will become a fully hireable full stack developer post-graduation. And some typical job titles we see our students landing are software engineer, obviously, software developer, front-end developer, back-end developer, et cetera. Our software engineering course, we offer at both the live and flex paces, and we have full-time in-person cohorts in New York City, in Denver, and in Washington, D.C., with more cities to follow. Very exciting. Cool. This is the software engineering curriculum. So you'll learn HTML, CSS, JavaScript, React, and Redux for the front end, Ruby, Sinatra, and Rails for the back end. And then you'll have additional course content on data structures and algorithms throughout as well. The curriculum has 5 phases, starting actually with phase 0, which is mandatory pre-work that you'll complete before class starts. And then phase 1, which is day 1 of class, starts with JavaScript and it builds from there. At the end of each phase, you'll build a project to showcase everything you've learned so far. The projects become more robust as you work through the curriculum. And then, by graduation day, you've completed your full stack portfolio and you can immediately start applying for jobs. This is a capstone project built by one of our virtual students in Texas. This is a student I interviewed. I take no credit, but this project is absolutely amazing. She built this app called Money Moon, which is a personal finance app for 2. Money Moon gives couples an overview of their joint financial health, their spending habits, and their trends without having to officially combine bank accounts. The backend was built with Ruby on Rails, front end with JavaScript using React and Redux to create the lightweight interface. And then she used Plaid API to authenticate user credentials with banks and to scrape account and transaction data. Fun fact, Plaid API is actually the same API that Robinhood, the commission-free investing app, uses. So very cool. Just an example of what a student built. The best thing about our programs is that it's not like a cookie cutter project. You can create whatever you want, and we will support all of your crazy ideas. So you'll have a link to this project, and there are so many other projects published on YouTube. So check it out. Moving right along to talk about our data science course. So data science is a field that uses scientific methods, processes, algorithms, and systems to extract knowledge and insights from structured and unstructured data. Basically, you're analyzing data to solve problems and inform business decisions. You're telling a story with the data that you've compiled. With this program, it's very important to note that the biggest learning curve is calculus and a little bit of statistics. A strong math background and prior exposure in both areas is definitely preferred. This is our data science curriculum. So you'll cover key concepts like Python programming, data visualization, linear regression, and machine learning in the program. You'll also dive into more advanced topics like big data, deep learning, and natural language processing. This course is also taught in 5 phases, starting again with mandatory pre-work, pre-start in phase 0. And we offer our data science course at both the live and the flex paces. And we have full-time in-person cohorts planned in New York City with more campus locations to follow. This is a portfolio project example from one of our data science students. She used the parameters of the Bechdel test to examine how women are represented in film and presented data-driven insights for end users by creating a dashboard that allows users to explore the data that most interests them. Creating dashboards from data is a very common practice that sorts your data into a quick visual, whether it be a graph or a chart. It allows you to measure and assess data quickly to perform in a more productive fashion. Moving right along to cybersecurity, which is the protection of computer systems from theft or damage to hardware, software, or data. Basically, this means that it protects systems from cyber attacks so that people can operate safely. We've partnered with SecureSet Academy, which is a long-running cyber program here in Denver, Colorado, and in Colorado Springs, to create our cyber engineering course, which is offered at the flex pace exclusively for now, and with live full-time program starting in May, and then also a full-time in-person cohort running out of Colorado Springs. This is our cyber engineering curriculum. You will have 600 hours worth of curriculum learning advanced cybersecurity tools like Python, Wireshark, Linux, Metasploit, and you'll learn how to use them to defend against cyber criminals. In this program, it's a little different. It's not built in phases. Instead, you're learning 8 foundational courses simultaneously throughout the entire program that offer a deep dive on concepts like networks and systems, cryptography, application security, Python programming, and pen testing, and more. The program also spends half of its time in what we call the Cyber Range Lab environment, which gives you like the practical experience to jump right into the front lines of cybersecurity post-graduation. And some common job titles for students who complete this program are security engineer, security analyst, penetration or pen tester, and security consultant. And then after completing the cyber course, you'll be able to both actively monitor vulnerabilities and threats, and then also take action on them in an enterprise environment. So with your capstone, it's a little hard to show. It's like structured a little bit differently, but the capstone simulates a real world breach scenario where you present your solution to a panel. You'll utilize the deliverables from this for your job search with your career coach, allowing you to demonstrate your real world experience without needing to take on countless certifications. I saw a question come in about certifications and I figured I might as well answer it here. The cyber program is a certificate of completion from Flatiron School, like our other disciplines, but other common like cyber certs like the CompTIA and some others, and like security clearance is not something that's included in this program, something that some of our students, depending on like what they want to do career-wise, will move on to get before starting their job search. And that's like pretty exclusive to cyber. The other programs don't have a ton of other like certifications that are common. So just FYI there. All right. Moving right along to talk about our final discipline, which is product design. This is a field that uses design, research, and data to solve problems for a user's experience. Our product design grads become product designers, user experience designers, UX researchers, and interaction designers. And our product design course is offered at both live and flex paces and in person full-time in New York City starting in May and Denver in July. Hope you guys are remembering all of this. It's a lot of different dates spinning around in my head. This is our product design curriculum. So the course is structured in phases, starting with phase 0, which is mandatory pre-work. Phases 1 and 2 teach fundamentals of UX and UI, user experience and user interface processes. Phases 3 and 4 give you real-world experience through rigorous projects using tools like Miro, I think is how you pronounce it, Whimsical, and Figma. And then in phase 5, you'll pull your body of work into a portfolio, and you'll prepare yourself for entry into the job market with your career coach. This is a little example of something you'll be working on in the product design course. So students use existing companies and learn how to make changes, like mock changes to their existing design. So this is a company called Heirloom, which I believe they install hydroponic technologies for like indoor and also outdoor use. It automates like many of the most tedious tasks involved with growing your own food, according to our product design lead who told me that. And so students design the screens for controlling and setting up the sensors and components in a system, which is pretty cool. All right, I know I'm moving fast, but got a lot of ground to cover. Keep putting your questions in the chat. I want to switch gears a little bit to talk about sort of like the student journey from prospective student to graduate and beyond here at Flatiron School. So for the purpose of this slide, you're the guy in the middle. From the day that you apply to the program until the day that you start the program, you'll be connected with an admissions rep, someone like myself or one of my team members, who will guide you through the admissions process, answer all of the big questions, and ensure that you start the program successfully. From day 1 of class until graduation and beyond, you'll work with the lead instructor who will support your success throughout the different phases of the program. They provide feedback and mentorship on projects, and they hold you accountable for the pace that you've set for yourself. You'll be interacting with your instructor constantly, whether you're in the live program, the flex program, or an in-person course. You have a lead instructor assigned to your cohort from start to finish. And then in addition to your lead instructor, you'll have access to a team of technical coaches who provide one-on-one support 7 days a week from pre-work to graduation. Our tech coaches are awesome. Many of them are Flatiron School grads who are now working in the industry. This is their like part-time side hustle, and they work a couple hours a week helping Flatiron School grads. It's such a great resource, especially as you start pre-work and as you work through the program. It's not a machine. It's not a chat box. They are real people who will send you a Zoom link and help you get unstuck. They will not answer your questions for you directly. They won't do your work for you directly. They really help teach you and guide yourself to your own solution. So one of the coolest perks of the program, in my opinion. And then lastly, to support your job search, you'll have a designated career coach to support you through your entire job search, from like a professional rebrand to your resume to overcoming imposter syndrome, negotiating salary, and beyond. I'll talk a little bit more about that later. I think we have an additional slide. All right, so this is a quick overview of the admissions process. Take a screenshot of this if you want to. You'll have the full slide deck, but we'll dig into the different steps in the next couple of slides. But as you can see, it is a multi-step process, so take note. I'm going to change slides now, so hopefully anybody who got a screen grab, who wanted to get a screen grab, got one. Oh, long day of talking, everybody. So sorry. Okay, so step 1, submit an application. This is not scary. It's just a chance to introduce yourself. The application has 2 questions regardless of your program. Tell us about your background and tell us about your technical experience. Don't get hung up on the technical experience piece. Like maybe you're working towards a computer science degree, or you're a mathematician, or you've been self-teaching for years. Fabulous. Tell us all about it. Maybe you're brand new and you're terrified, but you love puzzles and you like problem solving, or you revamped your MySpace back in the day. We want to hear about that too. Whatever, like wherever you're at, just tell us. We want to see passion more than anything else. Couple of FAQs around like when you should apply. So like I said, you do not need to know how to code, hack, work with data, or build out wireframes before applying to the program. You should definitely know that you're ready for a career change. And you should also know approximately how much time you have each week to dedicate to a program. I will go on a tangent here briefly, but after almost 3 years of working with all you career changers, it is like, I know how anxious many of you are to get started, get through it, and start your new career. But please, please think realistically about the time commitment that you're signing up for. Like a 60-hour per week course might sound doable, but when you look at your calendar, can you actually swing it? Like, do you have trips coming up? Do you have kids to pick up from school? Like, do you want a little bit more flexibility in your week? These are all things that we can talk about throughout the admissions process, but definitely come prepared to have that conversation. And most importantly, be honest about yourself, or be honest with yourself about how much time you can take on. You will be so, so happy that you did, and you will be miserable if you get yourself into a program that is not sustainable for you and your lifestyle and your current situation. So again, no final decisions need to be made before you apply, but definitely look at your schedule, think realistically about the time commitment of each program, because it's a lot. All of it is a lot. All right, rant over. After completing the application, your next step is getting scheduled for an admissions interview. So myself or someone on my team will reach out and get you scheduled. The admissions interviews are about 20 minutes. Typically, they take place either over Zoom or a phone call. And it's just a chance where we get to learn more about you and you get to learn more about Flatiron School. This is also a great time to ask any and all of your questions. We are open books. After the interview, you'll complete the admissions assessment. This is a quiz that assesses your ability to think critically. You will have 15 minutes to complete 50 questions approximately that test concepts like pattern recognition and some simple math. The assessment's the same for all disciplines, and best of all, no prep is needed. You can jump right in. Here are some example questions. Don't try and answer them right now, but just to give you an idea, it's not as scary as it sounds, or maybe for some people it sounds easy, and it is. Like, I don't know, it just depends on the way that you think, but more than anything, it's just assessing your ability to think critically. If you want to prep, we do have a blog post on our website titled How to Pass Flatiron School's New Admissions Assessment with more example questions. So feel free to check it out, but don't be nervous. And then after you complete your assessment, we'll get your score and we'll be able to move you forward with an admissions decision. And then once admitted, you pay a deposit to enroll. It's $500. And that's going to get you access to pre-work. And pre-work is the most important part, the phase 0 that I was talking about for most of our disciplines. Pre-work is discipline specific. It is mandatory, and it varies in length depending on your program. And support for pre-work comes in many different forms. You'll have technical coach access throughout pre-work. So if you get stuck, you can use the technical coach support that I was mentioning earlier. And then you'll also have support from your peers on student Slack, which is what this is a screenshot of. Again, to get back on my soapbox, the more time you spend on pre-work, the better prepared you will be for class. When picking your start date, be sure to factor in more than enough time to get through the labs so that you're not rushing, you're not panicking, you feel good, because this will dictate your success in the program 100%. Okay, I have 24 questions in the chat box. We're almost through the slides. Quick rundown of our financing options, because I know it can be confusing to find this info on our website. So tuition for the program, regardless of your discipline, regardless of your pace, is $16,900 in total. When you're admitted into the program, you'll pay a deposit of $500 upfront, pay with a credit card, bank account, whatever you want to do. That's going to enroll you into the program and get you access to pre-work, but it is fully refundable should your plans change before day one of class. For the balance, we have a couple of options. You can pay it all up front if you want to, and the payment would be due about 10 days before class starts. You can also pay in installments through a company called EdAid. It's 12 interest-free installments monthly for a year. You are paying while you're in the program monthly, but it's all interest-free in the end, which is nice. And then we also work with 2 third-party lenders, a company called Climb and another company called Ascent, which allows students to make monthly payments on their tuition. Both lenders, hot tip, also offer cost of living loans up to $7,500 for students in our live and also our full-time in-person programs to help cover some of your cost of living expenses while you're in the course if you want to. And then we have some partial scholarship opportunities actively posted on our website. We have a cool scholarship called the Access Scholarship, which is aimed to help those in underrepresented communities in tech or in need of financial assistance. You can find a ton of info on our website, flatironschool.com/scholarships, I believe. And just an FYI, if you want to apply for a scholarship, what you'll want to do is apply to the program first, schedule your admissions interview. In that interview, we will discuss scholarships. And then the form is internal, so we can send it to you after that call. Got a bunch of people raising their hands. And like, you guys can hear me, right? That would be so horrible. No, okay. Okay, we're good. Okay, moving on. This is, I think I've said this several times, but this is probably the coolest part of the program. This is like the last 2 slides and then we'll jump into questions. But want to talk quickly about career coaching and like your job search, since this is designed to be a career changing course. Basically, how this works is regardless of your program or pace, when you're about 80% of the way through the course, you'll be paired with a career coach who meets with you one-on-one twice a week throughout your entire job search until your first day at your first job. You go through a professional rebrand of sorts and get a ton of help perfecting your LinkedIn, your resume, your GitHub, etc. You get support prepping for interviews. You go through mock technical interviews. They help you overcome imposter syndrome and practice how to negotiate salary, like all of these different things you work directly with your career coach on. And then in addition to your coach, there's an opportunity to be introduced to our employer partners, which are companies big and small that recurringly hire our graduates. I've said this several times at this point, but we've been running this program since 2012. We have placed over 6,000 graduates, last time I checked, 6,000 and counting, in the industry. And so over years of being in this business and placing students, there are employers who hired a Flatiron School grad on a whim, had a great experience, and now when they're looking to grow their team, they reach out to us directly. I think that's honestly one of the coolest perks of the program. Is like, in addition to the community that you'll build with your direct cohort and your classmates, when you finish, you're going to enter this entire world of Flatiron School grads who are working in the industry. Unbeatable. All right, last thing, jobs report. Speaking of grads getting jobs, I don't want to spend too much time on this because all of the information's on our website, but highly encourage you all to check out the jobs report. It's audited and published annually, so I imagine we'll have some new data out here soon. The placement rate in the last report was 86% in the industry, with an average starting salary of just under 75 grand. This is on our website, and it'll also be in your emails tomorrow morning. You will get a full report. It is a meaty 80-page PDF that breaks down the data by program, by city, by grad. It's such a cool resource for you to have as you continue your research. 30 minutes left. Perfect. I'm going to jump into questions and let me see exactly where to start. Sorry, you can't turn off closed captioning. I just saw that. All right, I'm going to jump in and read the questions out loud. If I don't get to all of them, I'll send you the link to my calendar. We can have like a one-on-one chat. It'll be super fun. Question number one, how do you decide between disciplines like software engineering, cyber, UX design, et cetera, if you're totally new to the tech field? That's where a little bit of self-teaching comes in handy. You don't have to be a pro, but like start Googling. The nice thing about tech is there's so many free resources before jumping into like a fully established paid programming and actually like making the career change. There's like JavaScript in 4-hour YouTube videos. There's product design courses. There's cyber courses. Take one, take any of them. Just jump in, see how you feel. It's going to be pretty apparent to you, I imagine, which one fits with your brain. Also, not a bad idea is going on LinkedIn and searching jobs in your area, reading the descriptions and just thinking about like, what does the day-to-day of actually doing this look like? Do you like it? Perfect. If not, why waste the time and the money? How different is the structure and support between the live and the flex programs? Honestly, the support system is the same. The accountability is what's a little bit different. Like with a live program, you are there. Like attendance is mandatory Monday through Friday, 9 to 6. Everything is live. Your instructor is breathing down your neck. So are your classmates. Like you have deadlines. You are booked and busy throughout the entire program. And it's a lot, but some people benefit from that structure. The flex course, you have an instructor, you have classmates, you have the same tech coach access, you have the same career coach access. The difference is that it doesn't matter when you get the work done. It matters that you get the work done week over week. And that progress is really up to you, because technically you can fall behind in the flex program because you have the flexibility to change your pace. And so you really do have to set up a schedule to hold yourself accountable to the pace that you're setting for yourself. But you have an instructor that's checking in with you. You have classmates that you're interacting with, and you also get to hand pick and choose what you want to attend live and what you want to do sort of like async on your own time. There's live lectures throughout the day. There's open office hours. There's study sessions. There's events. There's all sorts of things. And you basically can just look at your schedule, look at, what's happening and hand pick what you'd like to tune in for and what you wouldn't. Natalie says no student loan programs. Yeah, we have two. A loan through Ascent and then the other one through Climb. All that info is on our website with links as well. What's nice about the lenders, just all of our financing options, is before you sign on the dotted line and even before they run your credit, all of the lenders have like a prepayment calculator set up where you can see like, this is what the interest rate would be. This is what the monthly payments are going to be. These are my options, blah, blah, blah. So highly recommend checking that out before obviously signing your life away. What materials or supplies should I have ready to take a course? Basically, you need a laptop, and we do have laptop requirements that vary by discipline. For example, the product design course requires a Mac. Mac is typically preferred for everything except, I guess, cyber. Before purchasing a laptop, like do not go buy one until you have our computer requirements PDF in hand. Everyone on the admissions team has it, and we can send it to you easily. Is Flatiron looking to have an in-person live data science cohort this year? Yes, we are. I think our very first one will kick off in New York City here in the next couple of months. I want to say May. Refer back to the slides. I think it was May. One thing I'll say, not just data science specifically, but for our in-person cohorts, number one, full COVID vaccination is required, just so you know. And like, the rules change based on the world. So just keep an eye out on our like website for all of the COVID protocols. But these cohorts are filling quickly and they have capacity limitations. Like our New York City software engineering cohort is booked out and waitlisted and has been for a while. And we keep adding more cohorts that continue to fill. So if you're interested in an in-person cohort, just know like you got to be on top of it. You have to be proactive and also apply early if you're like, that you need to be in a specific cohort. If you can be patient, then that's fine. Let's see. Oh, is Flatiron looking to have a live in-person data science cohort in Denver this year? That I'm not sure. I've heard whisperings that we are, but nothing on the calendar quite yet. Keep an eye on our website for sure. We will update. You'll probably know as soon as I know. With some campuses still yet to reopen, what's Flatiron School doing to make sure students in the live program can get the most of their experience, especially without the benefit of face-to-face instruction and interaction with peers? Yeah, that's a great question. And it's something that it's a concern for people who want to take a full-time program, but never imagine themselves learning in a virtual environment. One thing I'll say is Flatiron School has had a full-time immersive online program for years, like 7 years or something. So the switch to virtual was actually not like a huge issue for us because we already had the framework, we already had the instructors, and like literally have cohorts opting for the virtual program. And so it's a fully immersive course. Like I've had so many students push and push and push their start date, like hoping for their campus to reopen, ultimately decide it's not worth wasting any more time, jump into a live program, and they are always glad that they did, honestly. The course is just like, we keep the cohort small. It's the same exact capacity as we had on campus. It's the same instructor to student ratio. We've beefed up our tech coach access. So you get face-to-face instruction on the weekends, in the evenings. Like you're going to be tired of looking at your classmates and your instructors in the virtual program. It's very, very interactive. And so I hope that sort of answers your question, but definitely something to like voice as you go through the application process. And it's something that we can even like just get into like the daily structure and give you as much information as you can to like make an informed decision. Is the live program 40 or 60 hours a week? So with the live program, your class time, regardless of your discipline, is Monday through Friday. If you're on the East Coast or in Eastern Standard Time or Mountain Standard Time, your day is 9 to 6, Monday through Friday. If you're in Central or Pacific, your day is 8 to 5, a little bit early, sorry. That's your class time. Like you're booked and busy, attendance is mandatory. Outside of that, you're putting in an additional probably like 15 hours on average, working on projects, doing self-teaching, going above and beyond. So that's an average of about 60 hours total. Definitely prep for 60 and then be pleasantly surprised if you have a week where you're only committing 40. If you do flex, does your cohort consist of folks only doing flex or a mix of flex and live? Yeah, I guess that's a good question. It's separate. So live students, you'll be in a cohort exclusively with live students for your start date. Like you'll all start at the same time, you'll end at the same time, you have the same instructor, you attend all the lectures together. The flex program, you are in a cohort of about 30 students. You have a lead instructor who's assigned to your cohort from start to finish. Within that cohort, because you have flexibility to change your pace, people are going to be going at different paces. Like maybe there's a group of people going at 20 weeks, maybe there's 40, maybe there's 60, and that can change at any given time as people's lives change. So what's nice is you'll have a community of people who are maybe working a little bit ahead of you, and you'll be able to interact with them and sort of like form that community and get all the answers to the code challenges. So it's perfect. What's the size of the cohort for software development? Typically the size for like the max capacity for all of our programs is 25 students, whether it's virtual or in person, it doesn't matter. Data science, like cohorts are typically slightly smaller. It's like more of a niche industry. Product design is pretty small because it's like a newer program. So you'll have like an even smaller cohort there. And then cyber probably does cap out at around 25 as well. Kevin asked, you have to have a degree in order to be admitted. No, you don't. You do have to have a high school diploma or GED or like equivalency, but you absolutely don't have to have a college degree to complete this program. We get a solid mix. Like I think maybe 60% of our students across all disciplines have a bachelor's degree or higher, but there's a whole lot who don't. And that's one of the best things about tech and just like all of these industries is you can have every piece of paper that says that you did the thing, but if you can't prove it in your actual skill set and in your portfolio and in your ability to pass a technical interview, then you can't be hired. And if you can prove your technical abilities, then you can be hired. And it really doesn't matter. Like I always tell students that the piece of paper from Flatiron School is the least important thing that you'll get out of this program, honestly. Though unfortunately it does sometimes still carry a little bit of weight. How do students in the live sessions handle days off for vacation? Are you kidding me? If you're in the live program, you're not taking a vacation. Doctor's appointments, maybe. You typically, like, that's how serious the live program is. That's what I want everyone to know, is that if you take a live course, look at your calendar for that 15 weeks, cancel everything, lock yourself at home. You're married to Flatiron School. This is all you're doing. But no, we do have like an attendance policy. And we also have like a leave of absence policy. So if you needed to take extended leave, we have policies in place that you could do so without penalty. All, fine print, but definitely bring that up. Like if you have a doctor's appointment that's on the calendar, tell us now. That way we can, make sure to get it cleared with the instructor. The program moves quite quickly. So it's just hard. It's just hard to miss really any time at all. All right, I'm switching from the Q&A box to the chat. Already talked a little bit about the cyber certifications. Like I said, there's no certs, additional certs that are included in the program, though I would say most students, not most, but like, a solid percentage get the CompTIA. I hope I'm saying that right, but yeah, the certs are more a thing for cyber than all other disciplines for sure. All right. Hey, Laura Lee from Washington, D.C. How are you? All right. Just going to go down the chat. Sorry if this is like, I'm trying to make sense of it all. Someone said, is there anything like, can you go over 60 weeks for the Flex program? No, that is the one caveat with Flex, is that there's no extensions that can be purchased. Like it caps out at 60 weeks and you will expire out of the program to like certificate or not. So the 60-week program is 15 months. Let me just give you a rundown. This might answer some questions for Flex. This is for all disciplines. Generally, these are the weekly time commitments by PACE. If you do 20 weeks, it's a full-time program. You're looking at 40, 45 hours a week. If you do the 40-week Flex, it's a part-time program, like a solid part-time program. You're looking at 25 hours a week. And then the 60-week program is a 15-month program, and you're looking at like 12 to 15 hours a week, which is still a lot for people who are working full-time and have lives. It's definitely a commitment. So again, even if like, don't make the mistake of thinking like, oh, I got 60 weeks to finish this program. You drag your feet and then all of a sudden you're behind and you have 5 months and you have to take it full time. That's not what you want. So yeah, 60 weeks is the max. Is there an online learning option for the 15-week program? Yes, our live program is that exact same course, just offered virtually, 15 weeks, Monday through Friday, full time. Do you still get to be a part of the cohort with a Flex part-time option? Yep, you have a cohort. Someone said, how much are the courses and do you offer an income share agreement? I gave the full rundown on financing, so I'll skip that. We do not have an income share agreement. We have a deferred loan that's pretty similar through Ascent, where you can defer payment until 3 months post-graduation. Do you notice a difference in job hunting success between the full-time and the part-time options? Slightly, but not really. I think the biggest thing about the part-time program, like, it's not easier at all. Like, by any means, it's the exact same course. The thing that trips people up is with all of these, like, these programs, immersion is sort of key. And so even if you're busy, if you can commit to do something every single day, even if you're in the part-time, even if you're in the 15-week Flex, can you work an hour a day at least to keep things fresh in your mind? Because being like a weekend warrior and doing like 7 days on Saturday and Sunday, just, it doesn't cut it, because you got to use it or you lose it. And so I think that's the one thing that makes the difference, and you have power, over that situation. So just prep accordingly and try and keep a consistent, steady schedule. That's going to be like your best friend. But I think there's data like specifically in the jobs report around like starting salaries, like ever so slightly lower for the online program, but there's a million factors at play there. So I wouldn't read too much into it. What help is offered in phase 0 in like pre-work? Touched on this briefly. I'm not going to get too into the weeds because it does vary by discipline. But you have tech support. For the software engineering program specifically, it's 7 days a week, 9 a.m. to midnight Eastern, so like a whole lot of time that you can ask one-on-one questions, like getting your local environment set up, working through pre-work labs, etc. I know that they've started to add some pre-work study sessions on Zoom too, where you can jump in a group setting. And then you also have student Slack. So if someone's working ahead of you, like peer-to-peer support is huge. Do you need any experience in coding for software engineering? Not technically, but you should know enough to know what you're getting yourself into. Software engineering is one of those things that technically anyone can do, but not everybody would want to do. And so I always think like jumping into a cool like front-end JavaScript course, whether you're watching a YouTube video or like, taking a free course or doing prep for another program, whatever it may be, just do something. Don't feel like you have to memorize all of the content that you're learning. It's all about just like, do I enjoy learning the skill set? That's what you're trying to find out. Once you have figured that out, we'll teach you all of the actual stuff that you need to know. Does cyber prepare you for the CompTIA Plus? I've heard this analogy, so I'll tell you. Our cyber program prepares you for the like additional certs, sort of like how high school prepares you for the SATs, but you still got to prep for them and you still got to pay for it. So I hope that answers your question. Do you know if people go through a particular program and end up getting jobs in one of the other fields? Yeah, I was actually just looking at some job placements this morning of our data science grads in December, like last month, who were placed in roles as software engineers. So there's a little bit of overlap, and again, it depends on your background, it depends on your interests, where you live. I would say, like data science has some programming fundamentals. Cyber has some programming fundamentals, so I could see that transferring over to software engineering, but likely like do the best that you can of choosing a program that's career path entices you, because that's likely what you're going to do. Anything other than that is sort of like an outlier. Yes, y'all can get this whole slide deck later, and you'll get a copy of me talking for an hour. So that's good. If I decide to do the 40-week course, is it possible to complete the program early? Yeah, that's another great thing about the Flex program. You can stay on pace, 20, 40, 60, or you can move slightly between those paces. Like you could finish in 21 weeks, or you could finish in 32 weeks. Essentially, each week you're served up a to-do list that says, this is what you need to accomplish this week to stay on the pace that you've set for yourself. Completing your list keeps you on pace. Not completing your list puts you slightly behind pace, and you got to work ahead a little bit to catch up. And then completing your pace and taking on even more now puts you ahead of pace. So you might find yourself on both ends of the spectrum at any given time. And if you need to make like an intense pace jump from 20 to 60 or 20 to 40 or whatever, that's something that can be done officially with the help of your instructor easily without penalty. The only thing, just to clarify, is you cannot go past 60 weeks. You can't. There's no possibility. Oh, this is so cute. There's some people saying hello in the chat. Is it possible to do the Flex program if I have a vacation plan? Yeah, that's the other nice thing about the Flex program is you could technically take a week off. You could technically take a month off. You just have to plan accordingly. Again, consistency is key. So factor that into like, how you're going to digest the content if you're going to Mexico for a month. But if you can plan accordingly, you can do that easily without penalty. What if you fail the admissions assessment? The passing the assessment is a requirement for admissions. Yeah, so there is a world where you fail the assessment and you're not admitted into the program. If that's the case, we're saving you some trouble because you don't want to get into a program that's like not for you at this moment. Being denied from Flatiron School is not a you can never do this. It's a wait a little bit, do a little bit more research, do some self-teaching, reapply in a couple of months. And students are always better for it. Is a calculator allowed on the test? No, you can't use a calculator on the assessment. Is the $500 deposit in addition to the tuition, or is it part of the tuition? The $500 is part of the tuition. So you'd pay the $500 up front and then you'd finance or pay off the 16.4. What separates Flatiron School program from other starter programs? Like there's a million other programs out there. I'll give you the elevator pitch in an admissions interview, but I think you'd be hard pressed, honestly, to find a program with better career services than we have. It's amazing how much energy, like how many staff members at Flatiron School are whose full-time job is securing employment for our students and just like opening doors and making opportunities. Like our team loves our students so much. And it's like coming from like a higher education arena, it's very unusual. So whenever you're making this career change, it's expensive, it's scary, it's a leap of faith. You want people who are behind you and like actually supporting you. And that is honestly what you'll get on at Flatiron School. Someone said there's like, is there a refund on the rest of the tuition? Varies by state. Generally, and you will have all of this information before, again, signing on the dotted line, but generally our refund policy is like you receive a partial refund based on the portion of the program that you did not complete if you need to drop for whatever reason. More info in all the paperwork. And of course, if you have specific questions, ask your admissions rep. Lots of questions about vacations. Where are you guys going? Like I haven't been on a vacation in months. But just to reiterate, the live program, no doctor's appointments, okay. Vacations, not okay. If you have to miss like one day for a wedding, okay. If you have to miss like 3 or 4 days, not okay. Do flex or wait until the next cohort. We are not approved to accept the GI Bill or like vet tech or VA funding quite yet. It's kind of a bummer, but yeah, application still pending for now. What if I don't have money for the deposit? Yeah, that's a real question. The nice thing about our scholarship initiatives are that current state, they can be applied to the deposit as well. So if you find that you're a good candidate for maybe the Access Scholarship, definitely worth submitting an application. And if awarded, you can choose to put a portion of your scholarship towards your deposit. Do you help only with entry-level jobs? So I heard in parentheses, or can you pair me with jobs at my level, like PhD in a quantitative field, 8 years of post-grad experience? It depends deeply on you and your background and your portfolio and the initiative, like where you want to go with your career after taking this program. For the data science course, like that's something that we dive into a little bit more. The positions are likely slightly more, not advanced, but slightly more, maybe advanced, because the barrier to entry is slightly higher for data science because of like the math aspect and just like the industry as a whole. Whereas the software engineering program, if you have a whole bunch of self-teaching experience, you can come into this course, crush it, go above and beyond, build out an insane portfolio and land a job as like a mid-level developer. Or you can come in at like a relative beginner level, work super hard, build out an amazing portfolio, get a job working as like a junior dev, which is like the average starting salary is nothing to sneeze at, and then work your way up as you go through the program. So it's not that we're like, you must do an entry-level role. It's more about being realistic about the skill set that you have now and what is actually available to you fresh out the gate. You'll all be superstars, 5-10 years, 3 to 5 years down the line, but just being realistic about the first job. But it super depends on your experience. It sounds like you might even be like a sort of like an outlier. So many questions on the assessment. I'm so sorry to scare you all about that. It's really like not a big deal. I think even on our website, if you go to flatironschool.com, you can like take the assessment as sort of like a little test run. So feel free. Let me just do a quick scan. We do not have a live program in Dallas. We have a live program we have a campus in Austin that the campus is open as a community space currently, but not hosting in-person cohorts quite yet. Will we have an in-person software engineering cohort in New York City soon? Yep. The next one is on February 21st, but apply like tomorrow or yesterday if you want a spot in that cohort. It's almost full. The one after that is April 4th too. So computer requirements, I believe, are on the website. So check that out. All right, I'm doing a scan. I know that I'm just not going to get to all of them. Ew, gross things in the chat. Sorry, y'all. Do you get approached by companies to provide info on their next to graduate students? Yeah, that's like one of the coolest things. I'm not a huge part of that process, but our employer, like we have employers who like hire a Flatiron School grad here and there. And then we have like employer partners who exclusively use Flatiron School. Like it's almost like we recruit for their open roles on a continuous basis. There's some that are local to different cities. There's some that's like remote work. So yeah, for sure. If you don't get accepted into the program for whatever reason, can you reapply? Yes, typically it's like a 3-month period that you have to wait just to give you a little bit more time. Oh my gosh, I'm like, we have like 4-year-olds in this chat. I think that is it. One more rapid fire. Can you be awarded more than one scholarship? No. What companies hire Flatiron School grads? Check our jobs report. Cool. All right, I'm gonna stop there. I know that there's more, but I will wrap it up and I'll end here. Let me actually, this is fine. If I have thoroughly convinced you to join Flatiron School, definitely feel free to apply online, flatironschool.com/start. Unless you were one of the creepy ones in the chat, in which case you're preemptively denied. If you still have questions or would just like to chat through your options, like to chat about financing, whatever it may be, you can schedule a chat with me or someone on my team. go.onesub.com/Flatiron admissions. They are salesy. It's literally just a chance to chit chat about the program. And then also we have a ton of other really cool virtual events. We have virtual workshops that are instructor led. We have alumni panels. We have in-person events in New York City and then some in Denver. Flatironschool.com events is where you'll find all of that info. So definitely check it out. I think that is everything. Let me figure out how to get out of this Zoom. All right, cool. Thank you all so much for spending your evening. This was a huge turnout. Like I said, you'll get a follow-up email with like the recording, all of the things. And then I hope to hear from you all soon. Have a fabulous rest of your evening. And yeah, see ya.